Ladies and gentlemen, last week we were debating which iPhone is better. This week people are Googling, is this World War III? Oil prices jump, flights get cancelled, Dubai airport gets hit, flights pause, markets freeze, people in Bahrain hear blasts, Qatar and Kuwait go on high alert, and suddenly every uncle on WhatsApp becomes a war expert. He hasn't read a book since 2009, but now he's giving you a full military briefing with 17 voice notes. And you're sitting there like, bro, I just wanted to go to work. So what actually happened? How did we move from memes to missiles in what feels like 2 business days? Relax. Let's break this down like normal humans. This didn't start overnight. This is like that one family beef that's been going on since before you were born. Everybody acts normal at weddings, but you can feel the tension in the air like bad perfume. That's been the US and Iran for a long time. Pressure, threats, military presence, sanctions, big speeches, bigger warnings. Then the normal tension turned into real action. Reports say the United States launched strikes inside Iran, and it immediately escalated the situation. Now here's the part people don't understand. When you hit a country, you don't get a response like, "Dear sir, I am disappointed." You get retaliation. So Iran responded with missiles, drones, and the effects didn't stay contained. They spilled across the region, especially into Gulf hubs where the world's flights, business, and military assets overlap. And that's why you suddenly saw places like Dubai and Bahrain in the headlines. Not because they wanted to join anything, but because when giants fight, the neighbors' windows break. Dubai is a global transit and money hub. Bahrain hosts major strategic assets. When missiles start flying in that neighborhood, everything reacts fast. Airspace empties, flights get cancelled, markets wobble, people panic scroll. So in one sentence, US strikes inside Iran, Iran retaliates, the shockwave reaches Gulf hubs, the world starts whispering WW3. And the crazy part? Most people will spend the next week doing 2 things, doom scrolling or arguing online like they're in the war room. But the smart move is to understand the mechanics. Now I'm breaking down the question everyone asks. Why did it spread to the Gulf so fast? And why do places like Dubai and Bahrain get dragged into it? So now the big question. Why did places like Dubai and Bahrain start showing up in headlines? If the main tension is between Iran and the United States. Simple, because geography doesn't care about your comfort zone. Let me explain this in the most normal way possible. Imagine 2 heavyweight fighters arguing inside an apartment building. They're fighting inside apartment 4B. But guess what? The whole building shakes. The guy in 2A didn't do anything. The grandma in 6C just wanted tea. But when heavyweights move, the whole structure feels it. That's the Middle East right now. Here's what most people don't realize. The Gulf region isn't just tourist spots and skyscrapers. It's strategic. There are major energy routes, major military bases, major financial and shipping hubs. When tensions rise between Iran and the US, and there are responses and counter-responses, anything in that radius becomes sensitive. Airspace becomes risky. Shipping lanes get tense. Markets react before humans even finish tweeting. And that's why you suddenly see flights rerouting, oil prices moving, headlines multiplying, people whispering, "This is bigger than it looks." Because economically, this region is like the world's power strip. You mess with the plug, every device flickers. Now here's the psychology part. When conflict spreads geographically, fear spreads digitally. Even if nothing is happening near you physically, your brain reacts like it is. You open social media. You see explosions, maps, breaking news, red arrows everywhere. Your nervous system doesn't know distance. It just knows danger. And when millions of people feel that at the same time, markets shake, airlines pause, businesses slow decisions, investors hold their breath. That's the real chain reaction. Not just missiles, but mindset. And here's something interesting. Most wars don't become world wars. But every time something escalates fast, the internet turns it into World War III in about 14 minutes. Because fear spreads faster than facts. This spread fast not because everyone wants war, but because powerful countries operate inside a connected region full of military, energy, and global trade routes. And when giants move, the shockwaves don't stay local. Now here's where it gets deeper. The real question isn't just, why did it spread? The bigger question is, why did it happen now? Why this moment? Why this timing? And that's where strategy, history, and power all start connecting in a very interesting way. Because tension was building for years, but recently diplomacy stalled and a direct strike happened. Once the United States struck inside Iran, the situation crossed from pressure to action. And when action replaces warnings, retaliation becomes almost guaranteed. Leaders don't like looking weak. So when one side moves, the other responds. That's why it escalated now, not because it's new tension, but because a line was finally crossed. Let me tell you something funny. When war happens, some people think, not my country, not my problem. Then next week they're like, why is everything expensive? Bro, the world is one big supermarket. If a fight starts near the supply routes, your shopping cart becomes a victim. You don't need to be in the war to pay the bill. First, oil is not petrol. Oil is everything. People hear oil prices and think it's only about cars. No. Oil is transport. Transport is food. Food is inflation. Inflation is your salary crying in the corner. That's why, whenever big tension happens around the Gulf region, the world reacts like, uh-oh, the delivery fee is about to go crazy. Even if you don't buy oil, you buy things that were moved using oil. So your wallet feels it before your brain understands it. Second, flights and airspace is equal to global business traffic jam. Now look at what happens when flights pause and airspace gets risky. It's not just tourists stuck at the airport taking selfies. It's cargo, electronics, medicine, parts, packages. A flight gets canceled and suddenly deliveries delay. Costs rise. Businesses panic order. Prices jump. It's like when one road closes in your city and the whole city becomes a traffic jam. And then your friend says, bro, I'm 5 minutes away, but he arrives tomorrow. Third, insurance is the silent villain nobody talks about. This one is my favorite because nobody knows it. When conflict increases, insurance companies don't get emotional. They get expensive. Ships, more expensive. Planes, more expensive. Goods moving through risky zones, more expensive. And guess who pays? Not the government. Not the insurance CEO. You. Because the final price always lands on the customer like a surprise tax. This isn't just a war story. It's a chain reaction story. Missiles don't need to hit your street to hit your life. Because the modern world runs on fuel, roads, insurance, confidence. And when confidence drops, prices climb. Now, next part is the one everyone is waiting for. If this is affecting the whole world like this, does that mean it's actually becoming World War III? Or is it a scary regional escalation that feels global because money and media move fast? Let's be real. A world war is not just big explosions or multiple countries mentioned. A world war is when major global powers officially jump in, alliances activate, and multiple regions turn into battle zones at the same time. Right now, what we're seeing is serious escalation, but not automatically a world war. And here's the key reason it feels so massive. Because something happened that is not normal in modern conflicts. Iran's supreme leader, Ali Khamenei, was killed. That's not a news update. That's a game-changing twist. It's like a football match where the captain, the coach, and the referee all disappear at halftime. And then people say, why is everyone panicking? Bro, because now the situation becomes less predictable. And in global politics, unpredictability is scarier than aggression. Aggression has rules. Unpredictability has none. Now here's why that matters to the WW3 question. When leadership gets hit at that level, you don't just get retaliation. You get pressure inside the country to look strong, because every power center starts thinking, if we look weak, we lose control. If we don't respond, we get challenged. If we respond too hard, we risk pulling in more countries. So the risk isn't they want world war. The risk is a chain reaction, miscalculation, overreaction, wrong assumptions. This is why global leaders start talking like, we call for restraint, which is government language for, please don't make this worse. And here's the funniest part about humans. When something scary happens, we don't ask what is true, we ask what is viral. So the internet sees Iran versus US, Gulf cities affected, flights paused, markets shaking, major leader killed, and the internet immediately goes, World War III confirmed. Meanwhile, in reality, governments are doing the opposite of hype. They're trying to contain it. Because everybody knows one thing. A true world war in 2026 isn't a war, it's an economic heart attack. Nobody wins. Everyone bleeds money. This is not automatically World War III. but it is one of the most dangerous escalation moments in years. Because leadership has been hit and the region is tightly connected. And when the world is tightly connected, even a regional fight can feel global. So the real question becomes, when the world gets unstable like this, how do you stay calm, protect your money, and make smart moves while everyone else panics? All right, missiles flying, markets shaking, uncles screaming, World War III, oil doing gymnastics. Now what? Because you are not a president, you are not a general. You're just trying to survive Monday. So here's the real question. When the world feels unstable, what should you actually do? First thing, don't let headlines manage your emotions. Because remember, media profits from urgency. Calm doesn't trend. Stability doesn't trend. Everything is under control doesn't trend. Drama trends. So before you panic, ask, is this information or entertainment disguised as emergency? Most fear spreads faster than facts. Second thing, control what you can control. You cannot control Iran, the United States, oil markets, alliances, but you can control your expenses, your savings, your skills, your focus. When uncertainty rises, discipline becomes protection. This is when smart people cut unnecessary spending, avoid emotional investing, build emergency buffers, upskill quietly, not because the world is ending, but because instability rewards preparation. Third thing, separate noise from signal. Noise, World War III confirmed. Signal, airspace changes, policy changes, economic trends, official statements. One is emotional, one is practical, and your future reacts only to signal. Now here's something powerful. Every time the world goes through instability, two types of people appear. One freezes, one adapts. History is clear. The people who adapt don't panic, they prepare. They get stronger while everyone else doom scrolls. They stay informed but not obsessed. They move rationally in emotional times. That's the edge. Here's the truth. The world has always been tense. We just forget between crises. This moment is serious. Yes, but panic doesn't help. Clarity does. So when your WhatsApp group is screaming and Twitter is declaring the apocalypse, you breathe, you think, you adjust, you don't join the emotional stampede. Because the people who survive instability best are the ones who stay calm inside it. Missiles don't need to hit your street to affect your life, but fear doesn't need to hit your mind either. And that's the difference between reacting to the world and operating inside it. Thank you for listening, and don't forget to like and subscribe, my friends.